Welcome to Yoga for Everyone. Have a great class. Thank you.
And welcome everybody on this rainy morning. We're going to have kind of I would say, a medium kind of paced practice. We'll do some seated work to start, and eventually we will move into some standing work for today's class. And then we'll finish off, as always, with a nice guided meditation and relaxation. So hopefully it'll be a really nice and balanced practice for you all. So we're going to start today in a nice comfortable seat if you're not already in one. And I definitely recommend propping yourself up on a blanket, which I'm seated on right now, just to give your lower back a little bit more support so you can really focus on what you're doing and not worry about your lower back bothering you. So we're going to start with a little just grounding and centering before we start really moving at all. So I'll ask you if you can just find maybe somewhere out in front of you you can focus your eyes, or if you're comfortable with it, go ahead and close your eyes completely. So your awareness is just inwardly on your own body and yourself. And as we start just to settle in here this morning, begin to take notice of your own physical body. Take awareness of how it is that you decided to sit, and notice your posture. Like many people, we round through the upper back and the neck. So if you can, sit up tall, reach the crown of your head up to the ceiling, draw your shoulders back. Then you may just have made a small adjustment, but notice any differences you feel. And letting your awareness move to an even more subtle aspect of your body, which, if you didn't guess it, is your breath. So notice, where do you feel the movement of your breath? Is it focused in your chest? Do you focus in the belly? Or is it a combination of both? I'm not going to ask you to change your breath right now. Just let yourself become the observer of your breath. So we often don't even notice we're breathing. But do you notice it now? Okay, let's take one nice deep breath in together. See if you can breathe in through the nose. Breathe in when you're ready. And a nice big exhale out through nose or mouth. Okay, do one more together. Inhale fully when you're ready. And exhale completely. And on your next inhale, hands are going to come to touch right in front of your heart space. I'll ask you to pause just for a second here and think about why you showed up this morning. Why did you decide to come to this class? What is it that you're seeking or hoping to gain? Whatever your goal or your intention is, just think about it, focus on that for a moment. And then we'll seal it in. So one last time, inhale deeply, fill your lungs, fill your chest. Imagine you're sealing that goal, that intention into yourself. And as you exhale, let go of things that will hold you back from that intention, distractions, worries, fears, doubts. And then when you're ready, releasing the hands back down to the lap. And if your eyes are closed, you may go ahead and open them at this time. We're going to begin with our movement for the neck and head and work our way down. So on your next exhale, whatever side you want to do first, tilt one ear down towards one shoulder. And I'm not going to do right or left for this, just to start. Only go down as far as you comfortably can, and you can even explore maybe turning the chin towards the shoulder slightly to see how that feels. Or you could just simply keep the ear down, but maybe just go back and forth, turn the chin once, and then bring the ear back towards the shoulder. And inhale when you're ready. We're going to very gently lift the head, come back to center. The neck can be really, really fragile, so be careful. As you exhale, bring the opposite ear down. Yeah, maybe just hold there, enjoy the stretch. Maybe explore turning the head. See how just that little tiny movement really affects the stretch and where you feel it in your body. Okay, next inhale, gently bringing the head back up to center. And from here, we're going to do the front and back of the neck. So on your inhale, lift your chin this time like you want to point it up to the ceiling. Then as you exhale, we're going to let the chin tuck, almost like you want it to come down and touch the chest. We'll do that one more time. So when you're ready, inhale, let your chin lift up, pointing. And as you exhale, tucking the chin down towards the chest. This time we're going to make a circle. So let your ear tilt back over one shoulder. Lift your chin back up. Opposite ear over opposite shoulder. And chin back to the chest. Go ahead and do one more circle around, just moving gently and mindfully. Notice where any areas you might have stiffness or tightness, and just be slow through those places. Next time your chin is back at the chest, switch the direction of that circle. Go the opposite way a couple times. Next time chin is back at center again, you can pause there. Inhale, returning to your nice tall seat, sitting up as tall as you can. We're going to move down to shoulders and chest. So next inhale, we're going to spread the arms out to about shoulder height. A couple of things you want to be mindful of here are not to tense your shoulders towards your ears, instead to drop them away, and to imagine you're kind of squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you. That's going to support you. We're going to start doing a few little arm circles here. Keep them small, don't go too big. Just working on a little bit of motion. After you've done that for about maybe 15-20 seconds in one direction, you can go ahead and switch, go the other way. And keep the circle small. We're not trying to fly away here or anything like that. On your next exhale, we're going to let our arms go ahead and drop back down by the sides. As we inhale, we're going to focus on just the shoulders. So squeeze those up towards your ears, almost like you want them to touch. Then let out a big sigh and drop your shoulders down. It's supposed to be really stress relieving. We're going to do it twice more. So inhale, let's go ahead, squeeze them up. Don't worry about what anybody thinks. And exhale, drop the shoulders down. Let your stress, your tension go. One more time. Inhale, squeeze it up tight as you can. And when you're ready, exhale, drop the shoulders down. Good job, everyone. So we're going to just keep working on the shoulders a little longer, but this time instead of the arms straight out, we're going to have a bend at the elbows. Shoulders and elbows will be kind of lined up with each other here. So on your next exhale, we're going to imagine we're pressing our palms down towards the floor. Right here is kind of about where your range of motion should go. If you can go a little further than that, that's fine, but don't try to press way back behind you. Sometimes that can hurt the shoulder when done repetitively, so don't do that. So as we exhale, we're just going to press down maybe about halfway, maybe a little further than that is fine. And then inhale, come back up. Now sometimes, even though we can move our bodies in a certain way, doesn't mean we should. For example, I have really hypermobile joints and a lot of my body, my shoulders, my fingers, all those sorts of areas. And I have to be careful to not move them beyond where they really should go. So next time that you lift your palms, we're going to change up our motion. So as you exhale, you're going to start to draw your forearms and your elbows towards each other. Maybe you can get them to touch. Maybe you can't. It's okay either way. And then as we inhale, we're going to open the arms back out. I'm going to turn here so you guys can see this. And you're really going to start to draw your elbows behind you slightly, squeeze the shoulder blades. See how nice and open the chest area is. And as you exhale, you'll bring the hands back together in the front. Feel that nice stretch along the upper back. And then open back out when you're ready. Exhale together. And inhale, open and squeeze. Great. From here, we're going to do another movement for the shoulders, eagle arms. So try, if you can, to stack one elbow over your opposite. This won't be accessible for everyone. So if it doesn't, just try to cross your arms instead. If you can get the elbows stacked, bring either the backs of the hands towards each other, or maybe wrap the hand into the opposite palm. Inhale, let your elbows start to gently lift away from your chest. Even if you just have the arms crossed, try to lift them away. The other option you can take is, if your thumbs are very close to your forehead like mine are now, allow yourself to start to draw the thumbs away from your forehead. And you're going to notice that that stretch is really going to start to deepen through that top arm, the arm that's stacked above. You could hold here, or I really like doing some circles just to bring some motion in. So you could circle your elbows around like so, and just see what feels good to you. When you've gone around about 3 or 4 times, go ahead and switch, go the opposite way with the elbows. Great, let's go ahead and let those elbows make their way back down. Let's uncross the arms and let's close the eyes for a second if you can, because I want you to notice, does the side that was on top feel different than the other side? Do you notice a difference? And if you guys are looking at your camera right now, can you guys actually physically see the difference between my 2 shoulders? It's pretty noticeable. So I hope you can feel it too. We will do the other side when you're ready. So opposite arm that you did last time, make sure you actually switch. Whatever version you are able to do, elbows may lift, maybe drawing the thumb away from the forehead again, maybe exploring those circles. See how this side is feeling, notice, observe. We're often just not very conscious of how we're actually feeling. Go ahead and switch the direction. That's what I love about our yoga practice, is it teaches us to be more aware, just to live more present in the moment. Okay, elbows can go ahead and lower down towards the chest again, unwrap the arms. Maybe close the eyes if you'd like. And again, just check in. What do these 2 sides feel like? You might still have a little difference, but hopefully they feel more even. Great. So we're going to move from seated now to go onto hands and knees for a little while. So you can go ahead and start to transfer over. I would recommend, if you're on like a hardwood surface or something that's, a little bit harder on the knees, to bring your blanket underneath your knees now, or your towel if you're using one, because we'll probably be on hands and knees for about 10 minutes, and I want you to be, comfortable. So once you're here, we're going to start off with just our cat and cow movement. So bring your knees under your hips, palms under your shoulders, fingers spread nice and wide. As you inhale, we're going to let the belly lower, tailbone's going to lift slightly as the eyes start to look out in front of you. As you exhale, let your tailbone tuck under, belly draws up, spine lifts, chin tucks to the chest. And we're going to continue to flow as we move. So inhale again, tailbone lifts, belly lowers, eyes looking out. Exhale, tailbone tucks, spine and belly lift, chin to chest. Okay, do about 3 or 4 more, just moving with your breath. Okay, can you connect from your tailbone all the way up towards your neck? And we're really just focusing on that mobility of our spine right now, that extension and flexion, that back and forth motion that we're doing. Really important for your back health. Next time that you arch the spine up for cat, just come back to a flat, neutral back, just our tabletop position. Stabilize here. Make sure you have your palms and everything right under the shoulders as we're going to move to some core work. So as you inhale, reach your right leg back behind you as far as you can. You can have a small bend in this knee, but really try to reach and elongate. So you're also going to point through the heel, not the toes. So feel how that gives a little bit more stability to the movement. If you're feeling comfortable, left arm reaches out in front. Make sure thumb is pointed up as well. So your shoulders rotated out. Exhale, let's lower back down with the hand and knee and switch sides. Inhale, left leg extends in. Reach back, find your length. Stabilize through the lower body first. That's really the main intention of this. And then if you do feel comfortable, opposite arm can extend. Exhale, lower. We'll switch. We'll do it a couple more times on each side. Inhale when you're ready. Extending and reaching, finding length. Feel the core as it engages and holds you steady. Exhale down. Other side. Inhale, left leg reaches. Right arm can come forward if you'd like. And exhale down. Last time on each side here when you're ready. Inhale back to right leg and left arm. Exhale to release. And one last time. Inhale, extending left leg back, right arm can reach forward. Good job, everyone. Exhale, bring the hand and knee to plant. Back down underneath you. I'm going to do just a couple more things here on all fours. So on your next inhale, your right leg, your right knee is going to pick up and it's going to cross over your opposite leg. It may touch the floor or it may not, depending on your range. And then you can bring the knee back over again. We're going to repeat that for about 30 seconds. So you're going to lift the knee, cross it over, and then allow it to return to the original side. Don't rush yourself. And be mindful here. A lot of times when we're focusing on our lower body, for example, we forget about our hands and our fingers start to curl up. I'll tell you that puts a lot of pressure on your wrist. So spread your fingers wide, press into the palm of the hand right at the base of the fingers, and hopefully that will reduce some compression for you. You can always come onto fist too. And next time that you bring that knee over, we're going to go ahead and switch and go right into the other side. So left leg's going to lift this time, cross it over, maybe tap it down, and then bring it back to that original side. Now you can probably start to feel that this movement is really working on stabilizing this outer hip right here, as well as stretching the opposite side, the IT band. So great exercise, not only for stability, but also for mobility. Great. One more time on this side. Good. Next time that you bring the knee back to its original place, we're going to take a nice child's pose. So knees can step out a little wider, bring your big toes together. Press the hips towards your heels. Arms can either stretch out in front or maybe create a little pillow with your forearms for your forehead. We're going to stay here for about 30 seconds, just encouraging the lower back area to start to release. Don't worry, if your hips don't come all the way down, it's okay, but just gently start to press back as your body relaxes until you feel like you don't want to go any further. Take a couple more deep breaths while you're here, just resettling, refocusing. And then inhale, we're going to draw back up to all fours, onto hands and knees. And this time we're going to step our right foot up between the hands. So this is where, if you do like to use your yoga blocks, I would grab those now. And I'm going to grab mine for demonstration purposes. So if you want your blocks, you want to frame that front foot with your blocks. You can have them on whatever height makes it stable for you. Just so you guys can see as well. You're going to press your hips forward and down slightly. But notice, does my knee go forward over my toes? No, it stays here over the ankle. Also, it's not going to the inside of my big toe. It's more or less lined up with my second or third toe even. And that is really important for your hip health. So please keep that in mind. When you have your alignment down, we're going to alternate between this, our low lunge for the hip flexor, and our hamstring stretch, which is a half split. So I know that sounds intimidating, but don't worry too much. As you exhale, you're going to bring your hips back. You want to keep them square to the front of the mat. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see this too. So as you start to draw your hips back, it's very common for the hips to go to one side or the other. Try to keep them facing front. This front toe is going to lift. You can keep a small bend in the knee. As you exhale, you're going to fold forward from your hips, almost drawing the forehead down towards the shin. It may come nowhere close, so that's okay. But turn back here so you can also see from the side. This really is about the hamstring and lower back, whereas the other stretch is more for the front of the hip. So on your next inhale, we're going to transition back to the lunge. So you're just going to shift your weight forward, plant that front foot. Remember, don't stay up in your lunge, otherwise you're not going to get the benefit. Press the hips forward and down slightly. You can even kind of lift your chest, eyes can come out in front of you too. As we exhale, we're going to shift our hips back again. Remember, keep them square, don't cheat and go to one side. As you exhale, you can fold forward over that leg. Let's go ahead and do a few more back and forth. So inhale, shift forward for that nice hip flexor stretch. And exhale to shift the hips back. Good. Do a couple more on your own, just working with your breath. The next time that you're starting to come back, that hamstring stretch, your half split, we're going to go ahead and hold. We're going to hold for about 30 seconds. So once you're into it, same thing. Really let your body release down. Don't feel like you have to look up. You don't have to look at your computer. Close your eyes and let yourself really feel into the stretch. And if you've got a lot of tension, can you focus the breath there? And you may find the tension eventually will dissipate or lessen. Okay, excellent, everyone. On your next inhale, we're going to go ahead and shift back, forward, plant that front foot. And then step the front foot back, plant the knee. Before we do the other side, we're going to just take a few hip circles. So press your hips over to the right, back towards your heels, kind of like child's pose, over to the left, and then circle around just a couple more times. Usually will feel pretty nice for the back and the hips. When you've gone around a couple times in one direction, make sure you switch and do the other way too. And making your way back to center now. Let's step our left foot up this time between the hands, between the blocks. Make sure you check your alignment first and safety first, right? So knee over ankle, lined up with second toe. And take a breath there, see how it feels. So your hip flexor is right here in the front of that right hip. So if you're noticing sensation in that area, that is kind of what we're hoping for. As we exhale, we're going to shift our hips back and squaring them to the front. Toes lift. We fold forward slightly. And you may have a big, big difference between left and right. So if you do, don't force one side to match the other. Inhale, come back. So my left side is always tighter than the right side. You probably have a side that is like that too. And it just comes from our habits, how we sit, how we stand. Could even be that one of your legs is longer than the other. You'd be surprised how common that is. So just keep moving back and forth here when you're ready. Just transition with your breath. And if you feel like the lunge is where you want to stay a little longer, or if you want to stay back in the hamstring stretch for an extra breath, you can. You don't have to go as quickly as I'm going. Or you could even go a little faster if this is too slow for you, but just try your best to time with breath. That's the most important thing. So it isn't a mindless thing that you're doing. You're not just going back and forth for the heck of it. You're being intentional with your movement. The next time that we shift back for that half split, again, we'll hold for a little bit longer, just to encourage our body to release. So you're folding forward, entire body is relaxing. We're not looking up. We're just focusing on our breath. Good, everyone. When you're ready, inhale. Let's shift our weight back, forward, plant the foot. This time our back foot is going to actually step up to meet the front foot. You can move your blocks out of the way now. You're probably not going to need them. And we're just going to stay in this forward fold. You can bend your knees a little to soften. You could have your hands reaching down, or you could grab opposite elbows. Just have a little sway here from one side to the other. We're going to transition up to standing very shortly with our sun breathing. So on your inhale, you're going to take your hands up either to the shins, the knees, or the thighs. Ideally, you're going to have a straight line from your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head. So if you've got a lot of rounding like this through your upper back, so look at the camera here. Really draw your shoulder blades together, squeeze back so that you're strengthening this area of the back as well. As you exhale, we're going to fold forward once again, reaching down. You might not be able to reach, so you can always bend the knees if you'd like. And then this time, inhale, arms are going to come out by your ears. You're going to press up almost like you're coming into chair pose. Press with your legs, reach up. Arms will reach overhead. I know it's probably cutting off a little bit. But as you exhale, we're going to fold forward from the hips once again. Come all the way down. Take your time. Knees can soften. Inhale, rising back up to that halfway point. Remember to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, reach back down. Inhale when you're ready, drawing all the way up. Use the strength of your legs to rise. We'll do a couple more. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale down. Inhale, rise and lift back to the top. Wonderful. One more time here together. Exhale, come down. Inhale, rising halfway. Exhale. Inhale, back up to the top. When you reach the top, just let your arms settle back down by your sides. I'm just going to adjust this screen slightly so it's not cutting off my arms. And we're going to move into some sun salutes. So you can move anything off of your mat. If you've got a blanket back there, I suggest just get it out of your way because we're going to use the whole length of our mat for this part of the practice. So come on up to the very top of your mat if you're not already there. Feet are going to be hip width distance. And like we checked in with when we were seated, let's check in with our standing posture. So soften the knees. Knees are not locked. We're going to draw the shoulders back. Chest is open. Head and neck aren't falling forward. They're lifted up. So notice if this feels any different than your normal standing posture at all. Inhale to return your hands in front of your heart space. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Notice the beat of your heart right now, and we'll check in after a few rounds. Inhale, arms stretch out and up. Reach them overhead. You could do a slight little back bend here if you want to. It's optional. Exhale, fold forward from your hips. Come all the way down, just like we were doing with the sun breathing. If you can't reach the floor with your hands, bend your knees. Bring your fingertips in line with your toe tips. Inhale to step your right foot back behind you a few feet. Lowering back to that low lunge, which we practiced earlier. If you prefer to keep this back knee up, that's a-okay as well. Hands this time, if you want, can even lift up. You could come to heart center or even alongside your ears like mine are. If you do have your shoulders up like this, a couple things to be mindful of. You don't want to squeeze the shoulders so they're right by your ears. Shoulder blades are drawn together behind you, so your arms might be a little bit wider. Next time you exhale, we're going to turn, bring the palms back down to the floor. And then our front foot is going to step to meet the back foot, lift our hips to come into our first downward dog of class. Couple things to keep in mind for downward dog. Your knees don't have to be straight. You can have a little bend here, drawing your belly towards your thighs. I'm going to draw your shoulders so they're kind of rotating outwards. You can have even a slight bend in your elbows if you'd like. You can bend in one knee, press down through your opposite heel. Give those hamstrings a little extra love. And from this downward facing dog, inhale, we're going to shift forward to a plank. Now I'm going to modify this for the purposes of the class. So come down to your knees if you'd like, especially if your upper body is not the strongest part for you. Mine is definitely not. So we're going to let our chest fall forward slightly. Notice that little shift. Elbows bend towards your ribs. You scoop the chest either to cobra or extend the arms. Additionally, press into the tops of the feet. Eyes lift for up dog. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips back up to your downward facing dog again. Eyes look back to the top of your mat. Take as many steps for your right foot to come up. If it takes a couple of steps, that's fine. You can lower the back knee down. If you wish to lift the hands, you can. You're going to remember, draw the shoulder blades together if you have the arms up. Don't squeeze them right by the ears. Exhale. Hands can plant down when you're ready. Back foot's going to step up, returning to the top, forward fold. And inhale, we're going to stand all the way back up. Arms reach overhead. Optional back bend. Hands come back to heart. Great, excellent, you guys. You did one round. We're going to do two more after that. They'll be a little bit quicker each time. So come back to that nice tall standing posture. Inhale, hands to heart. When you're ready, arms extend, inhale out and up, back and if you'd like, and fold forward from the hips. This time on your inhale, this time left foot is going to come back first for your lunge. We're going to keep things simple for today. So again, any lunge variation that you'd like to take doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing if this doesn't feel right to you. Exhale, plant the hands. Step your front foot to meet your back foot. Lift the hips, come back to your downward facing dog. Next, inhale, shift forward to plank or modify down on the knees for your Chaturanga. So elbows draw in, scooping to cobra or upward facing dog. Meeting right back again in downward facing dog. Now let your eyes look back to the top. Take as many steps for your left foot to come back up for your lunge. And again, if you want to lift your hands, you're welcome to explore doing so. Even when you're in this lunge, still explore pressing the hips down slightly. Exhale, hands can plant. Back foot will step up to meet the front forward fold. Inhale, beginning to lift, rising all the way back up, arms reach overhead. And exhale, hands back to heart. Good, 2 out of 3 done, 1 more to go. When you're ready, here, last one. Inhale, arms stretch out and up. Exhale, forward fold, coming down. Fingers in line with toes. Inhale, right foot will step back first again. And land in your lunge, any version that you'd like. If you're used to staying a little higher with your lunge, remember, what does it feel like to actually press my hips forward and down? Exhale, hands plant. Inhale, front foot steps to meet the back. Next, inhale, forward to your plank, Chaturanga through 1 more time. Meet back in down dog. Eyes are back to the front of the mat now, stepping that right foot up to meet the front lunge position. Once there, again, you can lift if you wish. Next, exhale, let the hands plant back down. Back foot will step back to the top, forward fold. Inhale, drawing all the way back to standing once again. Arms reach up, back bend if you'd like. Hands return to that heart space. Pause here. What does my heart rate feel like right now? Ask yourself that. And then let the hands release and lower. And you guys have done an awesome job. We're going to stay standing for just a little bit longer, just another pose or two. We're going to do a balance section. So if you want to hold on to anything that you're around, you're welcome to do so for this. So find a dristi or a gazing point out in front of you for this, somewhere on the floor or wall. We're going to do tree and the eagle pose today. Feet are going to be about hip width distance apart. And I encourage you just to shift your weight from right to left a few times, just to kind of tune into what that feels like. And when you have done that, go ahead and shift all the way to the left. Let the weight stay there. Begin to lift up on your right heel and then rotate that right knee out. This is a great place to stay if you're a beginner or your balance doesn't feel great today. But if you want to go up a little higher, you could shift that foot to rest on the calf. Or you want to go up a little bit more, you can bring it up towards your thigh. I always tell people, don't put your foot right against your knee. That pressure on your joint is not good, so avoid that. Hands, if you choose to incorporate them, could come to heart. Some people prefer to branch them out, expressing whatever their own version of tree is. I sometimes keep my elbows out, hands up. You could bring your arms straight up. Whatever is better for your shoulders, truly. Try your best to breathe here. That's the most common thing I see. When someone comes into a balance, they hold their breath. They forget. So breathe, let it flow. Wonderful. So from here, we're going to try to transition right over to eagle. If you need to take a break in between, please be my guest. If you want to follow, we're going to simply shift, bring that thigh over so it's crossing over the left leg. The foot can hang out beside the opposite leg, or you could even tuck that foot around the back of the leg if it works. Or toes could stay down like a kickstand. Arms, we're going to bring our right elbow over our left elbow, or just cross the arms. Same thing that we did earlier. Elbows can lift, thumbs can draw away from the forehead. Try to give you a few angles so you can see what the pose should look like from different perspectives. The deeper you sink your hips here, the harder it's going to make it, but it will help strengthen that lower body area. Your next exhale, we're going to go ahead and let our arms unwind, followed by the legs. Plant that right foot. Make sure you roll your left ankle a little bit. Give it a little love. It's been holding you up there for a little while. And when you've worked it out on that standing side, go ahead and shift your weight to the right, and we'll switch to this side. So left heel lifts, knee rotates. Find where you want to place the foot. Could be the same or it could be different. And you don't have to force. This side is always harder for me. When you're stable, find your hands at heart center, or maybe spread them out. And breathe, stabilize. The trunk of your tree is perhaps the most important. If your core is not stable, the rest of your tree is going to be very wobbly. So stabilize that core to help the rest of you feel steady. When you're ready, if you wish to transition right into eagle, we're going to switch now. So we're going to cross that left thigh over the right, trying to hug them towards each other. Foot can hang out the side or down. Left elbow is going to wrap around this time. Again, you can lift the elbows if you wish. You could deepen the bend in your knees to work on that lower body strength. Breathing here. Being with your body in this moment. What is it feeling right now? Your next exhale, we're going to take our time, unwind the arms, unwind the legs, plant that left foot and shake and roll out that right ankle. Give it some love. Wonderful, everyone. You're done standing for our class today. For the rest of class, you can go ahead and sit down on your mat. Have your blanket or your towel close by because we will be needing that in just the next couple of minutes. So have it within easy reach so you don't have to move around too much. So we're seated. We're going to extend our legs out in front of us to start. If you want, you could even bring this blanket back under the hips for a brief period of time for supporting underneath the hips and lower back. We're going to do a couple forward folds here. Definitely recommend keeping the knees slightly bent here so you're not overextending or overstretching, because that's definitely possible to do. So on your next inhale, let your arms reach up and overhead as high as you possibly can. And as you exhale, we're going to fold forward from the hips. See if you can almost get your belly to touch your thighs. You might have to really bend the knees in order for that to happen, but try that and see how it feels, instead of necessarily reaching for the feet and the ankles. Let your head and your neck relax completely down. Try not to hold any tension in your body. Now, I will say for some people, this is not going to be comfortable right off the bat. And if that's the case for you, I recommend inhale, lift back up again, re-extend, re-reach, and exhale, release back down again. And maybe do that a few times until you feel that your body is able to release more into the stretch. We'll hold for about another 30 seconds here. I really don't even hold on to my feet. I just let the arms relax. Head and neck are just hanging down. Bring attention to breath. Your next inhale, we're gonna lift ourselves, our arms reach back out. We use our core to sit all the way back up tall, arms reach. As we exhale, we let the arms relax, bringing them back down by the sides. Great, everyone. So we have gotten to my personal favorite part of class, the kind of relaxation and supportive poses. So this is where we're gonna need your blanket. So I will show you just briefly how you can kind of set yourselves up for success. So depending on how wide your blanket is, I would suggest folding it in half. So mine is just this Mexican blanket. If you have one like this, go ahead and fold it, lie it down, and then start to roll it up into a tube shape and try to keep your tube or your cylinder really firm if you can, so that this is going to be underneath your spine and your back. You don't feel like it's unsupported or it's too soft. So when you do have that tube shape, you're going to lie it down along the center line of your mat here. And you're going to sit yourself right at the end of this blanket. So the end of this blanket is basically going to line up with your tailbone. You're going to slowly start to lower yourself down, just really mindfully, so that the blanket ideally is going to go along the whole length of your spine. And if your blanket is long enough, and hopefully it is, it will also support underneath the head and the neck. It isn't going to be a bad thing if your head and the neck are kind of hanging down slightly, unless that's just not comfortable for you. Your legs could stay bent, especially if your lower back's a problem area, or you could extend the legs out completely. Arms, I suggest bringing them away from the sides slightly, having the palms face up. This is going to encourage the chest and the shoulders to also open and expand. This is called supported fish pose. We're going to rest here for about a minute or so. My real encouragement is to focus on the chest area, really breathing deeply into this space. So normally our chest and our shoulders are kind of closed off from how we sit. But this, the shoulders are back, the chest is open. You can really breathe in your full capacity. So deep breaths in through your nose. Exhale either through nose or mouth. And as you stay here a little longer, just encouraging the body to release even more, using the breath as your tool to help you. Take about 4 more deep breaths while you're here. Inhale completely. And exhale fully. After your next exhale, when you're feeling ready, very, very gently, be mindful of the blanket behind you, and bend the knees and allow yourself to just gently roll over to the one side off of that blanket. Then you can move it out of your way. If you really, really like it and you want to stay there for the next 10 minutes, you are welcome to do that too. But for some people, it can be a little bit too intense. So we have 10 minutes left now to do our meditation and relaxation. I would suggest adjusting the lights in whatever space you're doing so that they're dim and you can really, really get into that space. So go ahead and stretch your legs and arms out now. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Close your eyes and let yourself, for the next 10 minutes, just be at ease and peace. So I will be guiding you through a little body scan and also sharing a little poem that I think you all will like during this practice too. And so once you are settled, your body is supported, give yourself your own permission to unwind. And what I mean by that is either out loud or in your head, say to yourself, I deserve this time. This is my time to unwind. Any affirming statement that just reminds you how important this time is for your well-being. And when you've had a chance to do that, we're going to go ahead and transition to just scanning through the different areas of the body. I'm going to actually start with the head and work our way down today. Each time I name an area, just send a thought to that place, encourage it to let go, and move on to the next place. So just beginning to relax the forehead and the eyes. Relax the cheeks and the jaw. Relax the tongue and lips. Relax the neck and the shoulders. Relax the upper back and the chest. Relax the lower back and the belly. Relax your hips and your glutes. Relax your thighs and your knees. Relax the calves and the ankles. Relax the feet and the toes. Just encouraging your whole body from your head to your toes to be comfortable, to be at ease. And if there's something you can't necessarily adjust physically, can you just send your breath to that place? Send your mind and your thoughts to that place, encouraging them to let go. Our mind-body connection is really something else, really powerful. If there are any other areas, just adjust those now. And for the last 5 minutes of our practice, just going to be as intentional as we can on enjoying this moment. So One way to do that is to just be present with your breath, noticing and observing as you inhale and exhale. If you have any breath techniques in your arsenal that you want to use at this time, please feel free to. I'm just going to recommend using an extended exhale. So if you're not familiar, very simple. On your inhale, you just want to count in your head to about 4 or 5. And then as you exhale, you want to try to make that number just a little bit longer. So maybe 6 to 8, or you could go, whatever number sequence works for you. Our exhales are longer than our inhales. That encourages our nervous system to really relax and release too. Hopefully you'll feel just totally rejuvenated at the end of our practice. So y'all continue just focusing on the breath. Here, I'm going to find this poem that I want to share with you. So the poem that I have chosen for you all today is titled Dissolving Barriers. Who do you think you are? It is strange how we confuse self-deprecation with being humble. The voice in our head loves to abuse and bury truth beneath its harsh jumble. How do you speak about yourself? Do you feel proud or rejoice in your inner wealth? Do you walk down the street confident and free? Or have you forgotten this is how we are naturally meant to be? Never be afraid to shine your light. Expand and take up more space than you think is right. Recall the wild soul within and know that your spirit expands beyond your skin. So just take a moment to reflect on those words. Remembering that our yoga practice works with our bodies and our minds, but there is much more to us than just our body and our mind. There's that inner self, that soul within us. So allow your breath to start to deepen at this time, just encouraging that life force of your breath to really reawaken your body from the inside out. You might feel ready to start bringing a little bit more movement back in at this time. You could wiggle your fingers, could stretch out your toes. Anything that would feel good. You may also feel ready to roll off of your back and come onto one of your sides if you would like. Everyone, there's no huge hurry, but when you are ready, you can start to make your way back again to a nice seated position so we can close out our practice together. So I'll give you just a few moments to get back up and seated. When you are back in your seat, if you'd like, join hands right in front of that heart space. It's such a simple way to show that we honor ourselves and we also honor each other. Let's take one more deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. Thank you all for sharing your morning with me today. I hope you enjoyed the practice, and may the light in me honors the light in each of you.